Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Swarna Ma'am's Biology. In this video, I will be explaining you about the life cycle of the parasite that is Entamoeba histolytica. So let us start. So before going into the life cycle, so let us discuss the introduction, that is the classification of Entamoeba histolytica. So when we see the classification of Entamoeba histolytica, it belongs to the kingdom Protista, subkingdom Protozoa, phylum Sarcomastigophora, subphylum Sarcodina, and class is Lobosa, order Amoeboidea, genus is Entamoeba, and species is histolytica. So here, mainly we have to remember the phylum Protozoa, means you can write phylum is Protozoa, class Lobosa, order Amoeboidea, genus Entamoeba, and species is histolytica. So this is about the classification of the Entamoeba histolytica. So coming to the introduction of the parasite, it is Lambel who discovered the parasite, and Loss is a scientist who proved its pathogenic nature. So coming to the geographical distribution of the parasite, we can say it is worldwide in distribution, but more common in tropical and subtropical regions when compared to that of the temperate zone. So habitat, so it mainly lives in the large intestine. In the large intestine, we can see in the layers, that is mucosal and submucosal layers of the large intestine of the man. So when we see the forms of the parasite, we can say there are three morphological forms of the parasite, means it occurs in three forms. So there is trophozoite form, precystic form, and the cystic form. So first we will discuss about the trophozoite form. So this trophozoite form, we can say it is a feeding and the growing stage of the parasite. So what it feeds, what it eats, so it eats the mucosal and the submucosal layers. Okay, it feeds on the mucosal and the submucosal layers of the large intestine, and enlarges in size, grows in size. And when we see the shape of the parasite or the size is not fixed. It is about 20 to 30 micrometers. And you can see here the parasite is covered by a layer which we call it as plasma membrane or plasmalemma. So which is covering the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm is divided into outer ectoplasm and the inner endoplasm. And this inner endoplasm is granular, and inside the endoplasm we can see the cartwheel shaped nucleus and RBC-filled food vacuoles. So RBC-filled food vacuoles and inner granular endoplasm and this cartwheel-shaped nucleus. So these are the characteristics of the trophozoite form. Okay. So when we see the nucleus, it is spherical and it is wheel shaped and it has the nucleolus, which we call it as a cardiosome or nucleosome, and it is covered by a nuclear membrane. So this trophozoite form, after it feeds and enlarges its size to the maximum, later it changes into a form which is called as precystic stage. And this precystic stage, it is round or it is ovoid or slightly blunt, and it contains a small scleropodium which is projecting at the periphery, and the endoplasm is devoid. It doesn't contain the red blood cells as well as food particles. But the nuclear structure is same as that of the precystic stage. Then after the precystic stage, it is changing into a stage which is called as cystic form. Means this precystic form will be developing a small cyst which is developing into a cystic stage. And this cystic stage, the nucleus is present, and the nucleus of the cyst divides twice by mitosis and forms what is called as tetranucleus cyst. Okay. So this tetranucleus cyst, we can say it is the infectious stage of the parasite. Entamoeba histolytica, as we have seen, it occurs in three forms. That is trophozoite, cystic, precystic, and the cystic form. And the cystic form is developing into the tetranucleus cyst. So these tetranucleus cysts comes out of the man along with the fecal matter, and they will be staying in the soil. So this tetranucleus cyst, which is staying in the soil, when the man takes it's contaminated food and water, so along with the contaminated food and water, this tetranucleus cyst will be swallowed inside along with the food and water. So When it is swallowed, it mainly enters into the large intestine. As we know that the home of this parasite is the large intestine of the man, so it is entering into the mucosal and submucosal layers of the large intestine of the man. So in the large intestines of the man, now it will be coming out of the parasite will be coming out of the cyst. Okay. So this form is called as metacystic form. Now, the nucleus of this metacyst divides by mitosis and forms 8 daughter nuclei. Means 4 nuclei are forming 8 nuclei, which is again followed by the division of the cytoplasm. Okay. And each cytoplasm surrounds the daughter nuclei. So at last, 8 small amoebulae or daughter amoebae are formed. So each amoebulae is developing into one trophozoite form. Now we know that this trophozoite feeds again in the large intestine. It grows in size, enlarges in size, and starts dividing by binary fission and forms the precystic forms. Here, it is forming the precystic form. And now this precystic form enters into the, so this trophozoite is entering into the precystic form. Precystic form develops a small cyst and forms the cystic form. And the nucleus of the cyst divides by mitosis and forms what is called as tetranucleus cyst. And this tetranucleus cyst which is formed, we can see tetranucleus cyst. So tetranucleus cyst which is formed is the infective stage of the parasite. It will be coming out of the fecal matter. So it is coming out of the fecal matter. And now this tetranucleus cyst will be staying in the soil. So whenever the man eats this contaminated food and water, it will be entering into the intestine and carrying out the same cycle. So this is about the life cycle of the parasite. Okay. So the tetranucleus cyst is entering into the intestine, and this tetranucleus cyst is coming out of the cyst, which cyst wall, we calling it as metacyst, and nucleus of the metacyst is dividing by mitosis, which is followed by the division of the cytoplasm, where 8 small daughter amoeba or entamoeba, or what we are calling it as amoebulae, are formed, and each one is developing into a trophozoite. Trophozoite again feeds and starts dividing. Some of them are changing into the precystic form. Now precystic form is changing into the cystic form, and cystic form is developing means now the nucleus of the cyst divides twice by mitosis and forms what is called as tetranucleus cyst. And this tetranucleus cyst is excreted out along with the fecal matter. And when the man takes this contaminated food and water, and it is entering into the intestine and carrying out the same cycle, what we are calling it as the life cycle of the parasite Entamoeba histolytica. Here we can see some of the trophozoite forms which are formed. Now they are forming precystic form and carrying out the same cycle in the intestine. What we are calling it as, that is amoebic dysentery. Okay, here the infection is in the intestine. Some of the parasite later they enter into the, means after repeated multiplication, some of them may enter into the liver and cause amoebic hepatitis. In some cases, it may enter into the brain, and sometimes it may even cause the death of the person. So this is about the life cycle of the parasite. So the prevention, as we know, when we see the prophylactic measures of the parasite, prevention is better than cure. So washing hands frequently prevents the entry of the trophozoite forms into our body, so that we can be safe from amoebiosis. And eating proper food and drinking sanitized, means sanitation is most important. And boiled water, drinking boiled water, and always the foods must be covered, and avoiding the outside food. So all these are the preventive measures to escape from amoebiosis. Okay, hope you like this video. So this is about the life cycle of the parasite, that is Entamoeba histolytica. So this is most important 8 marks questions which will be seen in your intermediate first year. So this is 8 mark question. So when they ask you about the life cycle of the parasite, that is Entamoeba histolytica, you have to describe its structure first. So when we describe the structure, we have to write about mainly its geographical distribution and habitat, and the 3 forms of the parasite, that is trophozoite form, precystic form, and the cystic form. And later we have to describe the life cycle of the parasite along with the diagram. This gives you 8 marks and each part carries the mark. That is, first we have to say its geographical distribution, habitat, and morphological forms along with the diagram, and the life cycle of the parasite along with the diagram. So this is about the life cycle of the parasite Entamoeba histolytica. Hope you like this video. So this tetranucleasis is the infective stage of the parasite. Cycle of the parasite, that is Entamoeba histolytica. So this